Welcome back to this edition of Central Valley Business. I'm your host, Lauren Baker, and we are back with Barbara Breen, who is the Program Manager for the Central Valley Crisis Suicide and Prevention Hotline. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you here today because this is a topic that most people don't really know how to talk about. It can be really uncomfortable, and you can tell us all about how to deal with that and things that we should maybe know. I am stuttering all over the place. I'm so sorry, audience. But yes, please tell us all the things we should know.
Well, I thought I would start first by just asking you some questions, Lauren, because I want this to be relevant so that people in our audience have an understanding and maybe they're able to pick up some ideas to help a family member or a friend that they might have. So do you have any questions in particular about suicide prevention, or if you have a friend or family member that may be struggling with suicidal thoughts? Do you have anything that you would like to ask me specifically about how to go about helping them?
Yes, how do you deal with that if you know someone who has dealt with it before, maybe more than once, and you're not sure how to talk to them about it, or even if you should be the one to talk to them about it?
Have they attempted before?
Yes.
They have attempted. So I think that the important thing to do is always be there as that support person. That's a wonderful thing to do. And then to ask them the question, and it's very, very difficult. It's hard to ask the question, are you thinking about suicide?
Yeah, because you don't want to ask if they're like having a good day and then now they're thinking about it because they think that maybe you don't trust them to be stable or something.
Exactly. But a lot of times it's important to ask the question because it's better to ask the question than to be sorry later. So asking the question, and it is very, very difficult to do because it's hard to get the response, because if they tell you yes, that's difficult to hear. Yeah. It's very hard to hear, and it makes it difficult for us to even know what to do with that. So if you ask the question, however, know that you can be there. Let that individual know that you're there for them, that you'll be there to help them, to support them, and then you can always call the hotline. So I think our hotline number is on the phone number or on the screen now. It's that 888-506-5991 number. So make sure that you're there with them. You can support them. You can be there. You can call. We have specialists, suicide intervention specialists, that will be on the other end of the phone. Those individuals then can three-way the conversation between you, your friend, family member, and themselves, and they can go through that process with them. But the important thing is that you're there as that stabilizing force for them, to that support person for them. But know that you have help and that you don't have to do it alone. Yeah. If you also are concerned, you can call the hotline yourself and say, I'm really concerned about this family member or friend. Are there certain resources that I can discuss with them? Is there certain things that we can talk about? And we'd be happy to walk you through that process as well. So there's help out there. There's support, there's help. There's ways that you can help this family member or friend.
That's amazing. And I'm sure it's true that when you call these places, there's not going to be a person that reports you if you say that you're thinking about it, because I know that's something that people are afraid of.
Exactly. It is confidential. The only time that emergency services would be contacted to potentially break that confidentiality is if someone has already ingested the pills and we know that they're at imminent risk of dying. So obviously at that point we're going to contact emergency services. If there's an individual that for whatever reason we can't talk them away from the means, then we would contact emergency services to help. But unless it's an extreme situation, the conversations are always confidential. Everything is confidential. But we would not be on the phone and not actively pursue saving someone if we knew they were at risk of death.
Of course.
So
What could someone do if, like, maybe, like, let's say it's like me and a friend, and
Mhm.
maybe I suggest doing it, but they reject the idea, and like they become resentful and maybe have more worrisome, like, reactions than I would expect if I suggested something like that. What's something like I could do in that situation if I was panicked that maybe I made it worse?
You know, if that's the case, then call the hotline. Discuss it with one of the individuals, one of the specialists there, and they'll be able to help you walk through the process, because you can tell them specifically what the scenario was, what happened, what the situation, and then they can walk you through that step by step. So the next time you have that conversation, or the next time that you're with that individual, then you can better help support them, whatever that might be. And there are times too, mental health issues a lot of times are involved, depression, those types of things. And let's face it, as lay people, we're not professional counselors. That's not what we do. We're there to be a support and to
Yes.
help provide that support for that individual, but we're not their therapist. We're not a psychiatrist. We can help them as support individuals. We can help them by, helping them look to find someone that might be in their network, in their, health service network. We can help them contact maybe the county behavioral health department. We can do those kind of things to help support, but we can't actively engage in actually being that therapist for them.
Yeah.
So, and nor are our specialists. They're not therapists, but they can actively help, provide that safety net and the support. They're very, very good at what they do. They're very skilled. They're gifted individuals who have a passion for people, have a love for people, and they're very skilled at being able to help individuals that have those suicidal thoughts. They're also, or that are actually in the process of committing suicide. We've talked a lot of individuals down from that. Over 400 individuals we've talked down from committing suicide. They were actively in the process. And in the last 3 years, we've taken over 35,000 phone calls of individuals that were in crisis. So we like to indicate that yes, we are crisis, because you don't have to be suicidal to give us a call.
That's amazing, and I like the point that you make, that they're not all like licensed therapists that they're talking to on the phone, because I think sometimes that, and I'm not knocking therapists in any way, shape, or form, but a therapist, like, they're only listening because you're paying them. And I know, like, some people that I know that have gone and done it, like, they feel like they're on the clock, so they don't feel like they're really being heard. But if you know that there's someone on the line that is there because they want to be on their own free time, I think that makes it a little bit nicer. Don't you think? Like, if someone really actually wants to sit there and listen to you all night long, if it takes that long, to just listen to you, and they're not doing it because they're getting something personally out of it, I think that makes it kind of better.
It does. It makes it interesting for our specialists as well, because when we reach out to individuals to volunteer, what we're doing is we're reaching out to individuals that have that empathy, that have that compassion, and have that ability to do just what you said here. It's not just about listening, it's about hearing what people are telling them. And then what our specialists do as well, they help people develop safety plans that they can utilize. So if there's certain triggers or things that they can identify that sometimes, turn them into, help them, or they start going into this cycle of a downward spiral, then those particular triggers can be identified. And if they can, it's like, okay, what can we do now to make sure that if you do suffer or you experience a trigger, what can you do to help yourself? How can you help yourself past that and through that?
Yes.
And what can you do to stay safe, not just now, today, this minute, but what can you do every day to help yourself have that mental wellness, have that feeling of being okay. Absolutely. So it's providing those kind of steps and providing that exploration with the callers that's most beneficial.
Absolutely. It's like that idiom with the whole give a man a fish he eats for today, but if you teach him to fish, he can have fish for a lifetime thing.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here, Barbara. It's been
Thank
so
you.
enlightening and so fascinating to learn about this. And I'm sure that if anyone's watching right now and, they're having issues with this, they can call the number at the bottom of the screen. It should be coming up right about now. Yes. If they want to contact maybe you personally, how can they do that?
Well, if they want to contact me personally, my phone number at the office is 559-256-7602. Again, 559-256-7602.
Yes, and we'll be right back after these messages here on Central Valley Business. Stay healthy.